And welcome to another episode of Nerds Amalgamated. I am the DJ, and with me today I have Buck.
Hello.
How's it going?
Mate, I normally say it's fantastic or fabulous, but it's absolutely so far beyond that, it's hard to believe.
Ooh, you've got something happened, didn't it, Buck?
It did. I had a fabulous cup of tea.
Oh, nice.
And I've also finished my studies for my master's, and I'm graduating, so yeah.
Hey, you're a free man.
I'm free and I'm broke.
Or a bad guy in Doctor Who.
Something like that.
And also with me today I have the professor.
Hello.
See, no. See, you can imitate it, but you're still not getting it right. There's only the one master.
How are you, Professor?
I'm good too.
Oh, something happened to you as well?
No.
Oh, fun day at the office?
Well, it's a weekend, so no, not really.
Fair enough.
I don't tend to go to the office on weekends, DJ.
I know, some people tend to do it though.
Some of us have 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah, I was supposed to have one of those, but I used to have to work weekends too.
Yeah, well, it's either that or weekends for catching up on all the sleep you missed during the week.
Yeah, no, never had that as an opportunity either. I used to work for my money.
Yeah, now you're just a uni student scabbing off the government.
No, not even that anymore. The government's cut me off. I've got no income. Anyone looking to hire someone? I'm out there for a job.
He's a very hard worker. He even works harder than me, and that says a lot.
That's not hard, really.
I hear crickets in the background there.
Anyways, moving along. So, our first story today, Professor, you've got the cure for loneliness.
Yeah, you're really not going to take the bait on me. No,
Which is?
the bait there saying that it's not hard to work harder than you.
No.
All right. Anyway, this article, which has a very interesting headline, well, not headline, URL. I don't know why they've classified an article about friendships in video games under the URL menshealth.com/sex-women.
Well, Men's Health is a magazine.
Of course.
Sex-women. Well, that's probably what most men are chasing after.
Well, I assume that would be for the relationships column, not for the you got buddies who play games with you column.
Well, some of those buddies are more than buddies. Not all men are into women.
True.
Some men aren't interested in sex either. So therefore, video games are more interesting.
Yeah, but anyway, so the meat of this article comes down to interviewing different gamers who have lifelong friends through their gaming groups, and it interviews a doctor with a very, very sorry, I don't know the word. Well, a very appropriate name anyway, Dr. Grief. Yes, they interviewed Dr. Grief regarding depression and loneliness.
One could say he gave them even more grief.
No, he helped them get past the grief.
Now, is it grief or griff?
Well, I think it's a German name and the pronunciation is Grief, but, not 100% sure, so if you can prove me wrong, go ahead.
I was just thinking more along the lines like, the GIF and GAF.
No, do not mention GIF or GIF or giraffe.
or the vase in the vase.
Potato and potato.
Don't do it.
God, we should have used them all.
I'm actually going to have to say here, I'm very concerned the fact that the DJ actually picked up on where I was going there faster than you there, Professor.
I'm just refusing to give you the dignity of a response.
Yeah. You tell yourself that and you hold that close.
Anyway, the DJ, when you're ready.
Yep, I'm ready.
We'll move on. Anyway, the author interviews a handful of gamers. One of them is Scott Belvin, who got into games as a solution to his social anxiety. When he was 23, his father got diagnosed with terminal cancer, and being able to meet people and play with them online was what helped him get through it. And I think the interesting point that this article is trying to make about it is that these people are using gaming as a backdrop to open up to their friends. They're saying that when guys get together in person, it's hard for guys to open up, but online over a game, it's easier for the guys they interview to be able to take down the wall and be themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What did they say? What type of games that they play?
All of them, but I don't think it really makes a difference as long as it's an online game. Obviously, playing Skyrim isn't the most social game to play.
Oh, I don't know. The multiplayer option in Skyrim would be a cool addition.
Yeah, but that's still not really a thing like 8 years later.
I don't know. Australia's pretty decent communities.
Yeah, I think that it isn't the same as what this article's referring to. This article is mostly aiming for, well, I suppose one of the interviews does mention gamers who meet on a online forum as opposed to playing co-op together. And the forums for Skyrim are pretty active because it's got such a big modding scene. So there might be a community that's sprung up full of people mentioning this. So yeah,
it does. The funny thing is how with these games, it does remove the stigma of how games doesn't make you interact with people. It doesn't make you go outside and meet new friends.
Well, see, that's the biggest load of bunk surrounding gaming. Because before games went online, we used to have LAN sessions, and
they still do.
Yeah, like there's still people who do it, but like it was like the thing, like you'd have a long weekend, and it was like, ooh, LAN session coming up, and you'd be making sure you got plenty of sleep because you know that throughout that long weekend it'll be minimal amount of sleep and massive amounts of gaming. And I had a group we used to get together. And like we turned around and we actually went paintballing once while we were doing it. We had the Friday night session, and then Saturday morning we woke up early, we went paintballing, and then on Sunday we went and played golf, well, just hitting the bucket of balls at the driving range. And then other times we'd go do stuff like that. We went all just inside the whole time, and we'd had about, it was like usually like 20 or 30 of us there or more. Like wouldn't all be able to fit into the same game sometimes, but yeah, we had an absolute ball of a time.
Yeah, and I think, well, one of the interviews they do actually covers a guy who sticks together with his friends from uni after they've graduated and all moved away. And I think the internet, online gaming, has made it so much easier to keep in touch with people through gaming. You no longer need to lug your computer to a LAN party once every 6 months. You can just hop on and play whenever you want.
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah. What's your game of choice, by the way, for a LAN party?
At the most recent LAN party I went to, we did Warcraft 3 with the modded maps, so Footmen Frenzy and stuff. Halo, like the first Halo, the PC edition of it, which feels so different to any shooter these days. Like there's no sprint, everything just feels a bit weird. But yeah, looking forward to Master Chief Collection when that comes out soon.
How about you, Buck? What's your go-to for game for a LAN party?
Depends on the LAN party, but yeah, we used to always enjoy doing Call of Duty, that sort of stuff, and Black Hawk Down, showing my age there. But they're still they were fun maps and everything like that. And the other is Unreal Tournament.
Oh, nice.
And any of the Unreal Tournaments, just player on player, causing mayhem and grief.
Yeah, my go-to game when it comes to LAN parties would be the old StarCraft games. They were fun, although the annoying part was the Zerg rushes.
Now, which old StarCraft are you talking about? Because 9 years ago was a pretty long time.
Brood War.
Depends on how old you are.
Yeah, of course you mean the old one, not just the old one.
Yeah, that's right.
Just taking you the new one, but it's old enough to be the old one.
Yeah.
I keep thinking you're talking about me here every time you say old one.
But the other thing of this article that reminds me is how I think the reason why people prefer to open up through gaming and stuff, it's the anonymity of the internet. Like it's better to discuss it with friends on the internet than discuss it with like your loved ones, like parents, or siblings and stuff.
That is the point that I already brought up earlier.
I'm saying.
Yes, I mentioned that it's easier to let people in on the internet than it is to do so in person, and that seems to be the reason behind why these guys bond over the internet.
There's a photo that floats around on Facebook and Reddit different times where there were a group of guys that used to do a lot of online gaming together, and they'd formed a squad for all the games, and one of them had cancer and was dying, and the first time they met in real life was they all came to his hospital room just to be with him before he died and play some games with him.
Yeah, I used to game with a guy who's passed on now. He was an older guy. Don't know if he's old as you, Buck, but yeah, he used to be in my armor group, and we were some of the first people he told when he got diagnosed. And, a couple of years on now, it's been about a year since he died, and, well, we still play together, but it's definitely missing something.
Yeah.
It also, the other interesting part about gaming in an essence is that games used to be about about competition, and now it's becoming more of an art form in terms of how the healing powers of gaming can change people in a sense.
Well, yeah,
So-
there is research that's explored the idea of the use of gaming as a therapeutic tool, and it's shown some ridiculously great results with how it helped people, whether it's with communication training and so forth, for some of the people with ASD and so forth, where they're not generally communicative, but by playing games they can learn to recognize facial expressions and that sort of stuff. So yeah, there's lots of research into the various aspects that it's utilized.
So just to clarify there, DJ, you mentioned competitive gaming. Do you think that there's been a trend towards cooperative gaming and that has affected the friendships you make?
Well, it depends on the game. Like if it's a game of Counter-Strike, then
Sick of it.
you have like one person just go like, "I told you you're supposed to be the guy to hold the bomb. Where were you?" Like you get like aggro moments at time, and sometimes as well on a game of FIFA, for example, when you're playing two people versus two people, you will always have the arguments like, "I thought you were the defender. No, you were the defender," like that kind of arguments.
Now, where can I strategically place censor beeps in that to make you sound more vulgar than you are?
But the point being, though, it's just that competitive gaming, as fun as it is, it can be. I don't know whether it can aggravate the situation or just de-escalate the situation.
Well, it depends on the game.
And the person playing it.
Yeah. Although, okay, let me play the devil's advocate on this aspect, though. Okay.
Do you really want to go there?
All right. So, what trouble are you going to cause?
Okay. Fair enough. We open ourselves to our friend about about our problems and stuff. Could you really trust the person that you're playing games with? Like,
well,
on
you
the
wouldn't
other
open
side
up
of
to
the
them
game?
if you don't trust them.
Pardon?
You wouldn't open up to them if you don't trust them. People are going to be horrible in real life too. So if you open up to someone in a game, I don't see the difference between that and opening up to someone in real life.
True. But then there is always...
You're not going to open up to some random person you haven't been speaking with for a while.
True, but then there's always there is always the thing of you're still part of the team, but then you don't really open up to that kind of scenario.
Then that's no different from going and playing in your local soccer team or footy team on weekends and not talking to people.
Have you gotten in trouble at work for too much information again?
No, I'm just it's just that I'm just pointing out the whole dangers of the internet, that kind of thing.
Well, here's the thing, right? Most gamers that have been playing for a while have learned about the dangers of the internet. Like we talk to each other about a lot of that sort of stuff, and we always give each other heads up about different things. Also, if you've got someone in the squad that's a noob, you're usually looking after them. If you've got someone that's a bit of a slime bag who's been a bit of a shark with some of the stuff, you know that as well. And more often than not, you usually end up kicking that person out of the team.
Yeah, my armor group has definitely done that a few times.
So
mostly with the schism.
Like I remember when we were playing Guns of Icarus. Like I was playing that on my own when I was first getting into it. The community in there, like if there were a couple of people who came in and they were being abusive and pretty sly with how they were doing things, and everyone was just booting them out. Like whoever, they just wouldn't be accepted into a game. You just go, get lost. And if they didn't leave, people would just walk away from the game and not play with them and go open up another map and start a game up without them. So yeah, people generally tend to look out for each other, and the longer you're playing a game with each other, you get to know each other well enough, and you're not going to go in and drop a bombshell of, oh yeah, I got prostate cancer to someone you've only just been playing with for one game, are you?
Yeah.
Or if you do, congratulations, you're pretty game, you're brave, coming out and admitting that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Generally, because this is the thing, blokes generally don't talk to each other about the important things until you know each other for a while, and yeah.
And that's actually true as well. Like it's because of the trust. Like we like blokes would always, it's always the trust first, then the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's true for everyone, but these guys have found an alternative way to get that trust and turn it into a conversation.
Yeah,
as opposed to like going to the pub together. These guys are just playing a game.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Like, there's been like a lot of research that I was looking at back when I was doing my undergrad, that a lot of the younger generations and even older generations now are having a trend as well, that there's less interest in going to a pub and spending time at a pub. And as a percentage wise, the population is moving away from that as a source of interaction socially, because pub culture has become all about drinking only, whereas it used to be a public house and people would go and sit and talk and just hang out, and it would only be like you might have one drink or whatever, or you'd have a cup of tea or something like that. It wasn't about getting drunk, whereas now it's all about the pub's all about making money at whatever way they can, and it's all about getting you to drink as much as you can, as quickly as you can, and getting out of there.
Yeah, I feel like the line is being blurred between like sort of pub you'd see in Cheers, where you go and sit down and chat to the bartender, and just like nightclub type places. It feels like every time I've gone out recently, the music has been obnoxiously loud, everything's been really expensive, which, you know, they're running a business, but it's discouraging compared to, you know, if I can go and buy a case of cans of drink for $20, why would I go and spend $15 on one slightly fancier drink?
Yeah. Do you? Here's a question for you guys. Do you guys reckon video gaming and social media have destroyed the whole pub culture in a sense? I mean, besides the whole like pubs are getting too expensive to go.
Destroy you in a minute. You're always looking for this little controversial angle of how does this destroy this culture? How's that destroy that? I'm
just looking at one of the quotes here, and they're saying one of the quotes in the article, they're saying here, a few years ago, as the debate grew louder about the illusion of intimacy created by online communities, there were a lot of renewed talk about Dunbar's number, a theory from evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar, that humans are capable of maintaining an almost 150 stable relationship at a time, no matter what your Facebook friend count says.
150 stable relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to call that's as an extreme example. Most people don't maintain 150 stable relationships.
Yeah, I think Dunbar's number at 150, like when he pegged it at 150, he's including, say, 3 best friends, half a dozen people you get together with all the time, like 5 family members who you get along well with, and then the rest of them are just people you talk to at work.
Yeah.
But the point behind Dunbar's number is that you can't have a meaningful relationship and know what's going on in somebody's life once you get above 150 friends, because there's just too much you're spread too thin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So even if you have 1,000 friends on Facebook, you're still probably limited to, I don't know, talking to 3 of them daily, and that 150 might be everyone you have a proper chat with in a year.
Hang on. I'm supposed to be speaking to people daily?
You don't have to.
Oh, thank goodness.
I also think that Dunbar's number is less accurate people with autism.
I can go with that.
Yeah, because when I first learned about Dunbar's number, I tried to count off everyone I knew, and I felt like I wasn't anywhere close to 150 meaningful relationships.
Yeah, I've always gone with the rule of like I've got only like a handful of friends and tons of acquaintances and so forth, but literally normally only like 4 or 5 people that I would actually call a good friend, because a friendship's on a level that's up there and special, and everyone has all these acquaintances they call friends, but the reality is when the chips are down, they're not going to be there. Whereas like when you want to sit down and have a chat with your friends, like if they're online gaming, like everyone comes in, you want to blow off some steam, like we all understand it, and you're just it's fair enough. And when you're doing gaming, you're running around and shooting the enemy or whatever it is that you're playing. It's quite therapeutic to sit there and be playing, I don't know, whether it's Call of Duty or whatever, and you get that perfect snipe shot to take out the enemy across the other side of the battlefield. And as you do it, you're just thinking, that's all the angst I've got from today, all the painful, annoying people on the train that were putting their feet up on the seat and whatever.
Yeah, as long as you aren't changing the character models to look like your boss. That raises a red flag.
Are you speaking from experience there?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
I wouldn't do that. I like my boss.
I was just checking because I was going to say you'd have to show me how to do it, because then we could make it so that the character models all look like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and Kim Jong Il.
I feel like making the character models look like politicians would get you put on a lot of lists and get a lot of visits from men in black suits.
Yep.
But let's face it, we're probably already on those lists already. So I think this is a mod that we could do and market, and people would actually be going, "Oh yeah."
Can you imagine a Skyrim mod with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton as the dragons?
I would go a Warhammer there.
Be very careful with doing that, because I'm going to recommend you not look up the hideous mess that is Macho Man Randy Savage as a horse.
What?
I'm just feeling very uncomfortable with the very idea.
It was one of the early mods that way back in the day that people made a mod adding Macho Man Randy Savage as, well, I just googled it trying to find an image for you, but it looks like the back in 2016 someone made dragons into Randy Savage.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I can't see in a quick search anything for the Randy Savage horse, but
I
the
see the
dragons
dragon
don't look
edition.
much better.
I see the dragon edition.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Actually, I thought I just found a Donald Trump one, but I was mistaken.
Ah.
I posted in general for you guys.
Maybe I'm thinking of Tommy Wiseau horse.
Oh no.
Oh yes, it's not great.
Oh no. What have you
I'll
done?
just grab the link for you.
Oh no! Someone's done Macho Man Randy Savage on the Wish Dragon from Neverending Story.
Oh, that's
No, he's
so
not as the dragon, but riding the dragon.
Oh man, the modding community.
There's people out there that just need to be taken outside and slapped. That's just nasty.
Yeah, this is the point where you just say, right, that's where I draw the line. Come on, Master Chief, let's go.
It's like I think we've overstepped the bounds of therapy to torture.
Well, see, like I was finding a therapeutic aspect to it. Like, who doesn't enjoy the idea of shooting particular politicians and TV stars? Like, just think, you could have Tom Cruise as a target.
Oh, even better. Chinese Winnie the Pooh mod in a Skyrim game.
I feel like that would fit better in Civilization. You just get called to a meeting and it's Winnie the Pooh, and he says to you, "Our words are backed with nuclear weapons."
I'm still scared after Supernova, after what the Baroness said about Winnie the Pooh.
We don't talk about that, Buck. I had repressed the memories.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. Anyways, moving along. We move along, actually.
Yes, let's move.
Bucky, you've got the story about the sweating disease and its origins and how they're still looking for it.
You just totally remembered it. I was going to say, I normally bring a story about the latest discovery. This week I'm bringing you a mystery that's still waiting to be solved after 500 years. Right out loud. It's hard to get good help these days, isn't it? Yes. There's been a lot of renewed interest into exactly what the sweating disease is. It's one of those medical mysteries that's hung around for 500 years. It appeared, hung around for a while, and disappeared. And no one can actually identify exactly what it was that was happening. And even more interesting is the fact that it was restricted in its area where it was happening to just England. It didn't cross the border into Wales or Scotland. It stayed in England.
So I'd assume it's just an extremely localized area of global warming.
Well,
global warming at this time of the year in this part of at this latitude, it contained entirely within your kitchen.
Well, not just your kitchen cupboard, because it's really, really weird. Like when you look at a lot of the history of it, like when you look at the Black Death and all those, they've worked out exactly, like they've found evidence of exactly what it was, whether it was bubonic plague in certain cases and other issues in other places, such as influenza. The sweating disease, there's no solid evidence of exactly what it was, and the ferocity and efficacy for the mortality rate was was pretty profound. Like, it was 30 to 50% of people who contracted it died. And the time frame was also pretty devastating as well, because you'd be sitting there before dinner, you'd be feeling a little bit crook, come morning, you're gone. So that's 12 hours. That's like a bowler level performance for a disease. But its spread was truly it's geographically limited to England. So they said it seldom made it across the border to Scotland, Wales, or across the sea to Ireland, and only a few cases in Europe. And it was predominantly attacking the young, healthy, and rich, as opposed to the poor, the old, or the young, which is the general case for a lot of the other diseases. So anyone out there who wants to seriously make a name in history for medicine, figure out what this is, because there are people all around the world that are still trying to work it out.
Well, they have to find patient 0 first, wouldn't they?
Well, they need to find a patient where they can actually track exactly what it was that was happening. Like, they found Prince Arthur, they've exhumed Prince Arthur's body, who was Henry VIII's brother, I think it was, or his son. I think it was his brother, yeah, Prince Arthur Tudor, who's believed to have possibly contracted the disease and was married to Aragon and was Henry VIII's brother. Yeah, they've exhumed his body, and they still have no evidence of what it was that killed him and what this disease was.
Yeah, he's the eldest son and heir apparent of Henry the Seventh, huh?
So he was a brother of Henry VIII.
Okay.
So, like, there's no definitive proof of what the sweating disease was, and the way that it operated was it's literally like germ warfare that kills 30 to 50% of the population in a 12-hour period, and then it's vanished. So it hangs around for a few years, killing people off, and then vanishes.
Well, judging by how warm it was today, I reckon I might have contracted it. It's a hot summer.
I think most of us would have contracted it by now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, no. Wrong time frame and wrong locality. You got to be in England. 2, it's usually appeared late summer or early autumn.
Okay. So was it associated with a fever?
You would sweat, and that was the reason why it was called the sweating disease. And you stunk. Yeah. It was so sharp and deadly that the like was never heard of to any man's remembrance before that time.
And it says here you will get fever and pains in the neck, back, and abdomen, followed by vomiting. You get chills and fever, and it ended with the sweat.
Profound sweat.
The good news is it sounds like whatever it was too contagious and it burned itself out rather than hanging around.
But here's the interesting part, though, right? There was 5 major waves. 5 or 4? 5. So first came in 1485 and then vanished. Showed up again in 1508, vanished. 1517, vanished. 1528, gone, and then lastly 1551. So it's not like there's not even an exact match with the number of years between it for cycles. So yeah, everything about this is just so, to use a word from Scooby-Doo, hinky, that everything about this just doesn't follow any of the normal patterns for a pathogen. So it's literally like, it's just, there's conjecture, like there was a lot of, there was clearing of land and chopping down of trees, all different sorts of things. But yeah, nobody can actually say exactly what had happened. Like, following the victorious return of Henry's army to London, the disease broke out. It killed 15,000 people in 6 weeks.
Wow, that's
like the equivalent of that today would be it would kill probably 200,000 or 300,000 people in London, or like depending on what the population is there. But there, that would have been like if you go 50% of the population of London in 6 weeks. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah, that's like apocalyptic horror movie stuff.
Yeah, that's what is it? Is it 42 days later and 42 weeks later?
24
28. 24. That's 28. Yeah,
days later and 28 weeks later.
Yep.
Like it's the most phenomenal process of a pathogen, and nobody can explain exactly how it was, what was going on. Like if you survive 24 hours, you usually live. And Thomas Cromwell, who was the chief advisor to Henry VIII and I believe father to Oliver Cromwell, suffered from it for three bouts and survived. So it wasn't a matter of once you got it, you survived, that's it. You had a certain amount of defense against it. No, you could still catch it again.
When did the concept of hygiene came in? That was after the 1500s, wasn't it?
Hygiene? They couldn't even spell that in England most of the time.
Because
they still weren't taking bathing as a regular thing in England in the 19th, like up in the early 20th century. It was a matter of you only took a bath once a week at the time.
Yeah, and the Doctor Who was like, hey, you know what? If we wash our hands hands between patients, less patients will die, was treated as a lunatic.
You laugh, but it's actually serious.
Oh, I know. I could say I could put a guess and say it could be a case of cross contamination, but I could be dead wrong.
Okay, so I think you would be dead wrong because cross contamination with what?
Like, okay, for example, the war,
How
stuff.
did it affect London? Yeah, see.
Okay,
Well,
so the doctor I was thinking of is
there's even a suggestion it was an outbreak of anthrax.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because anthrax forms spores that are quite long-lived. So it could have gone out and picked it up from the forest or an animal or something, and that would explain why it popped up every 20 years.
But it's never come back again in 500.
Yeah. Anyway, the doctor I was talking about who was treated as a lunatic was Ignaz Semmelweis.
Mm-hmm. Like honestly, like the Crusaders and all that used to, like even the British forces when they went to the Middle East during World War One and World War Two would look at the Arab bathing practices of the Muslims and whatnot, where they would wash their face, hands, and everything like 5 times, like whenever they went into the mosque, or they would bathe regularly. The English used to look at it and say it was a stupid idea.
Yeah.
And that was World War Two, like 1945. They were still only bathing once a week.
A lot of these religious laws, like not eating pork or ostracizing people with leprosy, are really boiled down to early hygiene. Back in the day, you couldn't guarantee that your pork was clean. There was a bunch of parasites that happened to enjoy living in pigs. So if you got sick from eating pork, eventually someone wrote that down and it became a rule in the Abrahamic faiths.
Mm-hmm.
Washing your hands, again, prevents disease, becomes a rule. Like, it might just happen to be a coincidence that someone said we should be clean before we enter the holy place, but it works.
Yeah, we'll see. Like for the Europeans, bathing once a week was a massive step forward because it used to be you'd bathe once a year. If you bathed more than that, it would sap your strength. Because if you bathed in winter, you got a cold. But going swimming in sub-zero temperatures and not having a healthy lifestyle with enough vitamin C in you and so forth, you're guaranteed to get sick.
Yeah, it's crazy how not that long ago, people thought having a bath once a week was excessive. And these days, if you go more than 8 hours on a hot day without a shower, people think you stink horribly.
Yes. But literally this is a medical mystery that's 500 years old that defies every other pattern of identification. So if there's somebody out there who wants to find something to study and make their name in history, this is probably one of those situations that you'll literally go down in the history books as one of the most brilliant people out there, because there's people from Brussels to also in France, Israel, there's people who are at the top of their field internationally who are all working on this, trying to work it out.
So how tall is this guy from Brussels?
I don't know.
Should we give it to the Elvis Lives podcast? Maybe they could solve it.
I'm disappointed none of you got what I was going for there.
Nope.
I think I did, but I just dodged it.
The man in Brussels who was 6'4" and full of muscles.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the way I
You
thought
guys
you were
aren't
going.
playing off me. Right?
Oh, that was a bit of a weak one. Come on.
I'm
You
doing
could've
my
given us
best.
You could have given us a better one. Like seriously, I think your humor's gotten a touch of the sweating sickness today.
Oh.
I am ashamed.
As I said, the DJ got my one before about the graph and grief before you did. Check your pulse. I'm getting nervous for you here.
Am I patient zero of the zombie apocalypse?
There's a profound possibility.
It would be absolutely horrifying to have zombies chasing after you, but instead of going brains, it's just endless dad jokes.
Oh, my kind of zombies.
You would throw yourself to them, wouldn't you, Buck?
No, I'd teach them. I'd sit there. I'd trade jokes with them. They'd go, he must be one of us. He knows more of these dad jokes than we do.
What's that zombie movie where they cover themselves in blood to distract the zombies?
Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, I think so. They cover themselves in zombie gut.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead. It's the same guys that are behind Hot Fuzz and so forth. The English one you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was also in Warm Bodies as well.
Let's give it to the Elvis Lives people. Maybe they could solve this. Maybe they could solve this mystery.
Any of them epidemiologists?
Well,
I'm going to pretend I know what that word is. Yes, I do know what it is, but it sounds like a fun word to say.
It is. It's one of those words you look for sentences where you can actually get to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Epidemiologists.
Yeah, and whether they can understand the burden of disease and whatnot.
Well, it's not just the burden of the disease. Epidemiologist is looking at like you were talking about patient zero, and I was talking about the pattern of the pathology.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what these guys look at.
Yeah. But I got a question for you. With the swelling disease, do you reckon that could be Ebola 2.0?
Well, wouldn't it be Ebola 1.0? But then there was also the fact that it didn't spread the way Ebola does.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the long run, Ebola is a fairly recent disease.
Also, the pattern of behavior with it is different. Like Ebola has bleeding and transference through blood. This doesn't talk about being transmitted through blood. Also, Ebola has a high mortality rate. It's like 50 to 80%.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been 500 years. I feel like if it was going to come back, someone would have stumbled across it by now, because England isn't exactly a remote place. It's not like the Siberian anthrax that's been frozen 40,000 years.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like this is literally one of the weirdest mysteries I've come across, and I just figured instead of giving something new for people to read through, let's find something that's a little bit older and a bit left of field, because there's medical historians that are still struggling to identify it. And I love the fact that when they talk about, they're saying about the ghost of Anne Boleyn still walks the bloody tower with her head under her arm.
I mean, I would. Like, someone chops your head off, I'd just pick it up and go bother them. Like, mate, you chopped my head off. That's not cool.
She should have had her son.
Like, nobody cuts my head off. Nobody. It's my head. It stays attached to my shoulders. You chop it off, I'm gonna haunt the shit out of you.
The professor's on a rampage.
So the professor's now marketing a laxative. If you're constipated, chop his head off.
Please no.
All right. Anyway, so our final topic is Ben Affleck's new project. It's there goes Buck.
That's Ben Affleck. I'm sorry, but seriously.
So Ben Affleck's new project is going to be called King Leopold's Ghost. So it's going to be a fact-based drama about the plunder of the Congo by Belgium's King Leopold II in the late 1800s. Affleck is producing through his Pearl Street film banner alongside Martin Scorsese and Emma Kossoff-Tingler through his Scalera Productions banner.
Actually, hang on, before we go any further,
Yo.
I've just brought up the article
Yo.
and the picture of Ben Affleck. If we can just look behind there, remember Disney was saying about the thin margins they have for making movies?
Yeah.
Ben Affleck is literally standing in front of a wall of money. And who's involved in this? Martin Scorsese. So I'm sorry, but Disney.
Oh, so one of the writers, Farhad Safinia, is basing his script on the Adam Rothschild book King Leopold's Ghost: A Story of Greed, Terror, and Heroism in Colonial Africa. So this story will be covering a atrocious piece of history, which is bad, which is pretty bad, and it's set at a moment.
It's atrocious, which is pretty bad. Is that from the article, or was that your own comment?
That's from the article. I was just reading it, and I was just struggling to not tell him to stop reading.
Yeah, that's a really awkward line.
I know. So it's set when European countries were trying to find ways to carve up natural resources of Africa. Leopold becomes the richest man by stashing it into secret bank accounts, and those who refused were dismembered, or worse. And as the book estimates, there are more than 8 million that were killed at this ruthless pursuit.
Yeah, it's a pretty brutal part of history for Congo.
Yeah.
Basically, the Belgians rolled in and took over, and everyone died.
Yeah. So the film will be looking at it from the Congolese point of view, in terms of they were the guys that defied Leopold and fought back.
Defied him, or they were just like, "Hey, this is our country. Get lost.
Back on the boats. F-off.
Go back where you came from."
So their heroic plight sparked a daring and unlikely alliance between a Black American missionary, an English investigative journalist, and an Irish spy that shone a light on the pun.
Walk into a bar.
It's on the horrors and gave birth to the first human rights movement.
Yeah,
It wasn't the first human rights movement.
I was going to point out that sounds a bit unlikely. I mean, I feel like the
Because
first human rights movement.
Wasn't it the first human rights movement was actually in England when they abolished slavery?
Actually, it was probably much before then, when Og decided that his caveman tribe was being used by the other caveman tribe.
Probably. Actually, we could even go back, if we want, we could go biblical, and Moses said, "No, you're treating my people wrong. You know, get time off and double time and overtime. Come on, we're out of here."
And thus the words came out, "Let my people go."
I feel a little Andrew Lloyd Webber coming on.
No, let's leave that to the musicals people podcast.
Yeah.
Well, they taught us everything we know.
Oh yeah.
Dun, dun.
So this film is born out of Affleck's personal passion.
Hang on. Can you just give us a synopsis of this? Like, break it down and not read the article?
Yeah, so basically this is Ben Affleck's passion project because he has a big interest in the African region, so much so he founded the Eastern Congo Initiative. Yeah.
That's cool.
I can go with it.
Yeah, he's got a bunch more good guy points now.
Yeah.
Well, he needed something. Like, come on, he was getting to be a bit of a dirtbag. It was a pretty common line about him. And
So
he's got a big wall of money behind him there with Netflix, so he should be able to help them a lot.
and he's worked on this project for several years apparently. So at one point the project was contemplated as a limited series, but now filmmakers feel it's found its form as a movie. So
I feel like a series would be too heavy.
I know Chernobyl worked, and that was heavy.
Yeah, I mean, this would be really, really heavy. Like, this is torture and murder and people being just horribly brutalized.
Yeah, because it's coming from the Congolese side, you could have it so that, well, actually, they did some pretty atrocious things themselves in response to the Europeans. But you could have some light moments on it. But some of the best stories are the ones that are literally the most black stories you can get.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's face it, some of the most humorous moments are from literally the black humor and gallows humor that you have amongst a lot of the soldiers that have fought through lots of wars. So it's sure to be some funny points in there.
But it's interesting to see a couple this part of history being shown on the big screen.
Is it going to be on the big screen or the small screen?
Big screen.
Well, how's he releasing it? Is it going to be released to cinemas or is it being released through Netflix? It's just because he's standing in front of a image there with Netflix. And
I know, that looks like an old
movies that aren't being
picture.
released to cinema now. There's a lot of them that are going straight to Netflix and so forth. I haven't seen anywhere here where it's saying what the expected release style is going to be.
Yeah, but Affleck has done a couple of movies, directing movies in a sense. Like he's directed Live by Night and Argo and The Town. So knowing Affleck, it will be put into movies.
I haven't watched either of those.
Pun?
I don't think I've watched either of those.
Argo. You haven't seen Argo?
I haven't, but I've heard that it takes some liberties with the presentation of the Americans involved in the situation.
Like the writer, what's his name? Sofinia, who he wrote Apocalypto. So like I can see there's going to be some good things there with that. And as we said before, I was saying like with the heaviness of it, Apocalypto was about a pretty horrible situation, but they still had some funny moments in there.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the actors that have been turning into film directors lately.
Well, let's face it, Ben Affleck hasn't been a particularly great actor for a while now, if ever.
Is this because of the Justice League movie?
No, even before that. Like, I'm sorry, he's just getting to be one of those actors that you see his name come up as being involved in a movie, and you're just going, oh no.
Oh, but yeah, there are a couple of other actors that have done the film directors, like Ron Howard, for example, Charlie Chaplin, Clint Eastwood.
Okay, hang on. Ben Affleck is nowhere near being what's his name? The first one you said?
Ron Howard.
Like Ron Howard is in a totally different league. He's one of the most successful directors of his age.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah.
There are very few people who have anything bad to say about Ron Howard from everything everything I've ever seen. Attitude-wise, work ethic-wise, he's the guy that everyone respects and wants to be. He's a director that even Spielberg respects. Ron Howard. Like when you talk about Ron Howard, and you got guys like Spielberg and even Scorsese and Francis Coppola like and respect Ron Howard. So I don't think that it's really fair to say that Ben Affleck's going to be a Ron Howard, especially considering the fact that by the time Ron Howard was at this same age group, he already had a few really good movies behind him as a director.
Yeah. But the other interesting thing is it's interesting to see African conflict movies coming out in this day and age. I mean, the last African conflict movie we saw was Hotel Rwanda.
Hey?
Well, you never seen Hotel Rwanda?
I was just thinking, when was Blood Diamond?
That was 2000 and... I think that was early 2002. My memory serves me right. 2006.
Okay, so that's Blood Diamond's newer. And then there was, what is it, Lions to Lambs? Or Lions for Lambs? Or Lambs for Lions, sorry.
I've never seen that one, actually.
Lambs for Lions, 2007, which has got a stellar cast with Robert Redford, Matthew Michael Carnahan, Tracy Falco. Oh, they're the producers, sorry.
That's about Afghanistan.
Yeah, but it's, still conflict area.
Black Hawk Down.
Well, Black Hawk Down, I think, was earlier. But there's... what was the Sean Penn one? He did one a little while ago as well.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Right, let me get it up. I know which one you're talking about.
Where he's doing the UN stuff.
The Interpreter. That's the one.
No.
Yeah, that's the one. It's the one with
no,
Nicole
it's not
Kidman.
The Interpreter. I think it's got a name like The Shooter, but it's not The Shooter. He's building pipelines for the UN for water and that sort of stuff.
Oh.
But his character was an ex-operative.
Yeah. What do you guys reckon about that? The whole idea as a whole?
The idea as a whole, I like. I like it. Like to see it being done properly.
Yeah. How about you, Professor?
Well, I think as long as these sorts of movies treat the subject matter respectfully, I'm happy to see them. It's a good way to get people educated about history.
Mm-hmm. That's Sean Penn movie, The Gunman.
Ah, okay.
So he's an assassin who kills the Minister of Mines of Congo, and then he goes into hiding and returns to the Congo years later and becomes the target of a hit squad. Yeah. So he's already looked at, like, Sean Penn's already done a movie touching on the situation in the Congo, which is actually pretty decent.
Okay. Anyways, so moving along, Buck, what game have you been playing?
I've been sticking with Spyro, taking it through and just finishing off Artisan World and going into the next. Still a whole lot of fun.
Nice. Found any flaws in the game?
No, still just it's one of those games where I'd rather have an actual proper controller, but I'm surviving with it.
How many nerdy beanies would you give this out of?
I think I gave it 4.5 or 4 out of 5 last week. And probably still stick at the same level.
Okay, cool. All right, Professor, what game have you been playing?
I've been playing Underrail, which is in the vein of the classic Fallout games, if they were based on the Metro universe. So I'm not sure what country it's set in, but what the main plot is yet. But I've made my way out of the first main train station, and I'm doing the sort of introductory mission, which is going to clear out some outposts and repair some facilities there.
Nice.
Yeah, and so you did say the classic Fallout, so you've actually got targets and that to fight. It's not lonely.
Yeah, there are enemies.
That's good.
And I've accidentally made everyone an enemy a couple of times now because it isn't clear about what's considered stealing or not. So just to experiment, I tried grabbing some stuff off a shelf. Everyone who was in the place immediately got negative karma with that faction, and they all started coming after me.
Professor, what could you ever not do?
Well, yeah. So you stole their twisties and they got upset and you're surprised.
Pretty much. I mean, I was actually stealing food.
Well, there you go. You should know. You steal food, the fat guys are going to come after you.
So, Professor, what flaws have you found in this game so far?
I haven't seen anything yet that I'd call a flaw.
Any highlights that you've found to be really cool little nuggets of glory?
Yeah, I think the settings winding up be really interesting because instead the default mode, instead of leveling up when you kill things, you level up when you find oddities, which sound a lot like the artifacts that you search for in the Stalker games.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's an interesting way of handling experience. So there seem to be cybernetics, which I'm interested in trying out when I level up a bit.
I'm liking the game style. I'm just looking at a video over here, and it's very reminiscent of Diablo.
Okay, it's turn-based though. Diablo's real time, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Diablo was just, I mean, like the original Diablo. But yeah, no, maybe I'm looking at the wrong, because it's under plus Expedition. So
okay, yeah, Expedition is the newest DLC.
Okay,
it adds a setting on an underground lake.
Yeah, well, this has got a map where you can run around, and it's got different rooms and all that. So
yeah,
the map layout is looking very reminiscent of the original Diablo.
Okay, so moving is a free action until you go into combat. So once you go into combat, it locks you down into turn-based, and you have action points.
Okay, I think Diablo might have been kind of similar to that at the time, but yeah, so long since I played it, I'm not too sure.
Okay,
just the map and the colorations and it's just very Diablo-esque, even to the fact that it's got walls of skulls in some sections by the looks of it.
Oh, I haven't run into that yet.
Don't spoil him the game. Don't spoil him the game.
I'm not spoiling the game. It's in the video previewing it. Professor's now loading up that video so he can go and look at it.
Yeah, so we'll be checking it out later.
How many nerdy beanies would you give this game out of? I know it's early days, but
well, I don't have any complaints about it. I'm loving the setting. I mean, until I find something wrong, I'd have to give it 5 out of 5.
Nice.
It's because it's so far it's hit every spot me.
Very nice.
So
Very nice.
this is a classic moment, folks. It's a 5 out of 5 for the first time on Nerds Amalgamated. Okay, they just had someone doing like big wall of fire sort of thing in the video, and it looks exactly the same as one of the spells you used to cast in Diablo.
I bet that's the psi power. So one of the character builds you can do is this psychic, and one of the classes of psychic powers is about thermal manipulation.
Okay.
I'm not a high enough level to learn any psychic powers yet, but I bet that's like cast fireball or something.
Yeah, it was just there was just the character walking along, and there was just a wall of fire traveling around in front of them, and the ground was all alight. So yeah, it was very, very much a Diablo-esque sort of imaging. So yeah, if it plays like Diablo used to, I'm gonna just say goodbye to you now, because we will miss you. You will disappear for hours and hours at a time.
That's the good part. I think it's a kind of one and done game, not infinitely replayable. So I will come back one day.
They did say the same thing about Diablo, but it was one of those ones where you can keep going back and leveling up more.
Okay.
And it just became addictive.
Okay.
Okay, so moving along. I've been playing Age of Empires. I'm starting from the first one. But I'm starting to do the campaigns mode in the Egypt. I'm starting from the very first, which is the Egypt campaign. And man, I would say there are a lot of changes in the first Age of Empires game.
How?
For example, the intro to the Age of Empires 1, it's no longer that.
Yeah, you already whinged about that.
I know, but that's Age of Empires 2, not the Age of Empires 1. And also in the old Age of Empires game, when you were picking a campaign, there would like be a little cutscene, and then later on there will be the game info of what's the mission and stuff like that. In this one, you don't get like any cutscene, anything of the Empire or anything like that. It's just Egyptian Empire. This is your mission. Scroll down, and there's hints and stuff, which is pretty good to look at. And that's it. And you start the game.
So you're upset you're not getting little videos to watch.
Well, it kind of brings the nostalgia.
Okay.
It's the lack of nostalgia, but in replacing nostalgia, they did improve on the performance of the game. Like the character models, for example, for the villages are pretty cool to look at compared to the old ones where it's just like little tiny stick men. In the new ones, it's just like these beefy guys, and I'm like, whoa, they've really upped the ante on the.
Hang on. Are you saying they got muscly guys in leather outfits?
Yes.
Do they have dreamy eyes?
I can't zoom in that I can't zoom in to see what kind of eyes they have, but no. But yeah, it's been fun. Just playing through the campaign. It's slow. Oh, okay. I've got my biggest flaws for this game. There are a couple. For example, it's slow in terms of gathering materials, unlike in the old games where it's just so quick.
You just haven't researched your gathering up enough, or maybe you're just not using the cheat mode like you used to.
Yes, I'm playing it straight, no cheats whatsoever.
Turn on the Big Daddy cheat and get the rocker.
That's number 2, not number 1.
No, I'm pretty sure it's number 1.
I swear it's number 2,
I
but
don't think the rocket car is in number 2.
What was
it's not-
the nuclear apocalypse sheet?
I don't remember, but E equals MC square is a bow with a nuclear rocket launcher.
Yeah, I think that might have been the one.
my current mission right now is I have to convert a catapult with a priest, and man, that's
Yes. I think I remember that one.
that's a
Is that the one you start with just one priest and you have to build up your empire by converting people?
That was in the old one, but now they don't have that anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, they changed a lot of things. I was like,
So it's essentially almost like a whole new game.
well, it's not a whole new game. It's just, there are some elements of the game of the old game that have that are in the game in the new one, but it's not a whole new game per se.
Okay.
So, what else was there in? Unlike in your new real-time strategy games, you don't have the whole like you can turn the camera around to check the units from all angles. It's only just one fixed camera, which is very annoying because, for example, if I were to hit like 5 axemen into a barracks and there's one villager repairing the barracks, I can't switch the camera around to select the units to attack the villager. I can't do that in the old.
Interesting that they haven't brought that across.
Yeah, which is very frustrating. I can't select it. Oh, but yeah, all in all, it's beefed up significantly, and it's good to play, but yeah, just camera angles are very annoying. Yeah.
It used to be that I think maybe it was only in number 2, but I'm pretty sure you see the outline of the enemy through the building and you can click on that. I
Yeah.
don't remember ever having a problem with that.
Yeah, it was only in number 2. Number 1, you don't even see the guy. It's
Okay.
is he camouflaged? Where is he? Where the
After you
heck?
destroyed the building, maybe they'll go after him.
No, even my own
They got
units
one
as well.
target. They got one target that they're attacking, and they're just attacking that unit as good soldiers are doing. They've been given an order, and they're just doing what they've been told.
Yeah, but even when I spawn new units, it's just where the heck are my new units? Are they hiding in the trees? Where the heck are they? There you go. Oh, they're there.
Well, considering the fact that you were describing as musty guys in leather outfits, and you complain about the camera angles, I'm probably sure that they're probably hiding in amongst the bushes, so you're not checking them out too much.
And the AI for the game itself is sometimes it's responsive, but oh man, sometimes they're annoying. Like you can't let them sit on one spot. You can't let them stand at the spot that you selected. It's not the one spot. It's just around that one spot, which is very annoying.
Yeah, I've got a friend who was complaining about the enemy AI, but I think you can have there's an option to set it back to classic AI or the enhanced AI from the HD edition. I'm not 100% sure though. I haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
So would you say that the AI in this is going to lead to the downfall of the civilization as we know it?
No, because first the AI has to work out how to command people with guns.
But does it, or is it command machines?
Well, unless it's commanding like guys with knives.
And hang on. This isn't for you. This is for the DJ.
Yeah. Answer the question,
Shut up. I'm
DJ.
putting this back to him.
Say the question again, Bucky.
Well, you always ask like the question of can you see this leading to the downfall of this or the end of this? Can you see this as leading to the downfall of civilization in the Western Hemisphere as we know it, and a rise in AI control of our universe?
No, it's not going to go. It's not going to go Skynet on us.
Based on what evidence?
Based on the fact it's made by Microsoft, they haven't gone crazy on us yet.
Well, Microsoft's been doing a lot of work on AI.
Yeah, but they haven't
They
gone
are
crazy.
the world's most influential software developer
That's true, but they haven't gone corrupt yet.
that we can prove.
But yeah, I'll give this game 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 nerdy beanies.
Okay.
So moving on to our shout outs. You have a lot of shout outs. Okay. So on the 26th of November 1970 in the base Terra in Guadeloupe, 1.5 inches, which is 38.1 millimeters of rainfall in a minute, the heaviest rainfall ever recorded. That's a lot of rain.
Mm-hmm.
26th of November 1983, world's greatest robbery, 26 million pounds sterling worth of gold bullion, diamonds, and cash stolen from Brinksmat's warehouse at Heathrow Airport, England. The bullion was the property of Johnson Matthey Bankers Limited, which collapsed the following year after making large loans to frauds and insolvent firms. 2 men were convicted and most of the gold were never recovered. Insurers, Lloyd's of London paid out for the losses. Several deaths have been linked to the case, and there are links to the Hatton Garden safe deposit burglary in April 2015.
And just for a little bit of context, I actually did a bit of calculations when we were talking about this the other day, and doing a currency conversion for the time from pound sterling to Australian dollars, it would have been approximately 80 million or 85 million dollars. And doing an inflation to bring it to today's figures, it's almost $1 billion.
That's a very spicy meatball.
What meatball?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, let's not worry about it.
I'm getting nervous now.
Okay, moving on. On the 26th of November 2003, the Concorde made its final flight over Bristol, England, known as BOAF 216, or its call sign Concorde Alpha Foxtrot. The name comes from its official UK registration. The Concorde departed from Heathrow at 11:30 GMT and made its last brief supersonic flight, carrying 100 BA staff over the Bay of Biscay. It then flew a lap of honour above Bristol, passing over Portishead, Clevedon, Weston-super-Mare, Bristol Airport, and Clifton Suspension Bridge before landing at Filton, soon after 1300 GMT. It was met by Prince Andrew, who formally accepted its handover. It had flown a total of 18,257 hours. Until 2010, the aircraft was open for public viewing at the Airbus facility. Since 2017, it has been the main exhibit at the Filton's Aerospace Bristol Museum. Apparently, they're saying that they might bring the Concorde back.
I doubt it.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, very expensive, very polluting, and you can't carry as many people, so you lose the economy of scale you get with an A380. And airlines are one of those industries that legitimately has very thin margins.
Yeah. Anyway, so our remembrances, 26th of November 1994, Nimrod Workman. Yes, that is a name. Don't ask how we got that name.
It's a great name.
American singer, coal miner, and trade unionist. His musical repertoire included traditional English and Scottish ballads, Appalachian folk songs, and original compositions. Workman was a recipient of a 1986 National Heritage Fellowship awarded by the National Endowment for the Arts, which is the United States government's highest honor in the folk and traditional arts. He died at the age of 99 in Knoxville, Tennessee. 26th of November 2005, Stanley Melvin Berenstein. Is it Berenstein or Bernstein?
Depends which side of the dimension came from.
Yeah. American author and illustrator co-created the Berenstein Bears. Inspired by the children's enthusiasm for Dr. Seuss books, the Berensteins decided to attempt a series with animal protagonists themselves, settling on bears not because of their surnames, but also as more commonly believed, but because they found them to be easy to draw. And Dr. Seuss also edited several books in the Berenstein Bears series and created a lasting franchise including many books, TV series, toys, and stage productions. He died from cancer at the age of 82 in Salisbury Township, Pennsylvania. 26th of November 2012, Joseph Edward Murray, American plastic surgeon who performed the first successful human kidney transplant on identical twins Richard and Ronald Herrick on December 23rd, 1953. Murray shared the Nobel Prize in Physiology. No, December 23rd, 1954.
Yes.
My mistake. Thank you for the correction.
You're welcome.
Murray shared the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1990 with E. Donald Thomas for their discoveries concerning organ and cell transplantation in the treatment of human diseases. Murray became the international leader in the study of transplantation biology, the use of immunosuppressant agents, and the studies on the mechanisms of rejection. He died from a stroke at the age of 93 in Boston, Massachusetts. Famous birthdays: 26th of November 1898, Carl Waldemar Ziegler, a German chemist who won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1963 with Julio Natta for works on polymers. The Nobel Committee recognized his excellent work on organometallic compounds, which led to new polymerization reactions and paved the way for new and highly useful industrial processes. He's also known for his work in the free radicals, many membered rings, and organometallic compounds, as well as developing of Ziegler-Natter catalyst. He was born in Helsa near Kassel, German Empire.
Hang on. What was one of the many awards he received?
He won. So one of the awards he received was the Werner von Siemens Ring in 1960, which was a joint award with Otto Bayer and Walter Repp.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was for expanding the scientific knowledge and technical development of synthetic materials.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
26th of November 1920, István Sarkozy, Hungarian composer. He was the founder member of the Association of Hungarian Musicians, and in 1954 he was appointed artistic advisor to the National Philharmonic Concert Bureau and the Hungarian Recording Company. In 1957 he was made general editor of the Editor Musica, and in 1959 he was appointed to teach theory at the Liszt Academy of Music, subsequently teaching composition there. He was born in I might butcher this, but I might not. Petsabet, Hungary. Pronounce it right?
I'm not even going to go there.
So on the 26th of November 1922, Charles Monroe Sparky Schultz, American cartoonist and creator of the comic strip Peanuts, which featured the characters Charlie Brown and Snoopy, among others. He is widely regarded as the most influential cartoonist of all time, cited by cartoonists including Jim Davis, Bill Watterson, Matt Groening, Dave Pilkey, and Stephen Paitis. At its height, Peanuts was published daily in 2,600 newspapers in 75 countries and in 21 languages. The strips plus merchandise and product endorsements produced revenues of more than $1 billion a year, with Schultz earning an estimated $30 million to $40 million annually. He was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. 26th of November 1988, Hafþór Julius Bjornsson, Icelandic professional strongman and actor.
I was so scared you were going to say Bjorgensen again.
I got it right, didn't I?
You were close enough compared to the other night.
He is the first person to have won the Arnold Strongman Classic, Europe's Strongest Man, and World's Strongest Man in the same calendar year. He played Gregor the Mountain Clegane in the HBO series Game of Thrones for 5 seasons. He was also a professional basketballer.
Well, yeah, I can't see too many people wanting to get his way when he's charging down the court.
He's won a lot of awards in the Strongman division. So he's won the Strongest Man division in 2010, won Iceland's Strongest Man in 2011, and a couple of more awards. He won 3 bronze and 3 silver medals in the first World's Strongest Man in 2011, and so he won 3 bronze and 3 silvers in the next 6 attempts before being crowned as champion in 2018. He was born in Reykjavik. Have you guys seen that? I don't know whether you guys saw that Conor McGregor video that Hafþór fought against.
No, I haven't seen it. Who won?
I think it was a tie, but yeah, that was
I think you mentioned this the other night, but
yeah.
What did Buck say? Conor McGregor's like 5'8", which is about 173 centimeters, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Hafþór is bloody massive.
7.
Yeah. So I'd be very impressed if Conor McGregor was actually able to hold his own.
I think it was more a matter of Hafþór was struggling to stay standing because he was laughing so hard.
Oh man, but imagine Hafþór in MMA.
Conor McGregor is 1.75 centimeters. 1.75 meters, sorry.
Can you imagine Hafþór in like combat sports?
No. Like honestly, could you imagine him throwing a punch at someone?
Oh, that would.
He literally, there's very few people that would actually be able to match him on weight, and then on his reach. Like he's 207 centimeters tall. He's going to have one heck of a reach, and he could crowd out his opponent so easily.
Can you imagine? Here's a fantasy fight for him versus Vladimir Klitschko.
I'd probably actually still go him. Vlad was a bit of a show pony, and there was a bit of controversy surrounding some of the decisions with him. The Klitschko brothers were a little bit, there was some ugly rumors about them. There was another boxer before them who was a Russian heavyweight who was actually probably about the same height as Hafþór and would probably give him a really good match. But Hafþór's not a boxer. This guy, while he was a boxer, he was also a bouncer when he wasn't fighting in Russian nightclubs. So yeah, like a guy that tough is definitely going to be hard to beat.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so moving along. Events of interest. So on the 26th of November 1865, Alice in Wonderland by English author Charles Ludwig Dodgson under the pseudonym Lewis Carroll was published in America. This was published as Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll with illustrations by John Tenniel. The first print run of 2000 was held back because Tenniel objected to the print quality. The entire print run sold out quickly. Alice was a publishing sensation beloved by children and adults alike. Among its first avid readers were Queen Victoria and the young Oscar Wilde. On the 26th of November 1977, an unidentified hijacker named Virillion, claiming to be the representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command, takes over British Southern Television for 6 minutes, starting at 5:12 p.m. It was the first major broadcast interruption through the Hannington transmitter of the Independent Broadcasting Authority in the United Kingdom. The mystery has never been solved.
Well, that's obviously because this Vermilion chap just went back to his home planet. Not going to find him now.
What you guys thought of his message though? His message was so it sounds so prophetic now if you think about it.
Well,
So
maybe
did
it
John
was.
Titor. So did John Titor up until he was wrong. So did you say what the message was?
No, he hasn't.
No, I didn't. It was basically saying, "We come to warn you of the destiny of your race and your world. You may communicate to your fellow beings. The new age can be a great time of peace, but only if your rulers are made aware of your evil forces." It's a very long speech. I don't want to go through
As
it.
the planet passes into the new age of Aquarius. All right, someone crack out the 70s pop song.
I was born there. I'm not going that.
Oh man.
Yeah, it just sounds like some troll.
Yeah.
I think it was a couple of Harvard, well, not even Harvard, Oxford University students who were stoned and going, and one of them turned to the other and said, "Hey, Henry, watch this. I'm going to take over the broadcasting."
Yeah, it reminds me of the Max Headroom incident. Somebody managed to hack a TV station and play footage of him wearing a Max Headroom mask, and it seems very similar. But they both seem to mention that the easiest way to hack these transmitters would be to hack the broadcast signal to the transmitter, not hack the signal, like not override it by broadcasting stronger. So I wonder if the quotes were inspired by each other.
Most likely.
Yeah. And finally, on the 26th of November 1986, Star Trek 4, the Voyage Home premiered. Since Star Trek had traditionally performed poorly internationally, the producers created a special trailer for foreign markets that de-emphasized the Star Trek part of the title, as well as retelling the events of Wrath of Khan and The Search of Spock. The Voyage Home ended Crocodile Dundee's eight-week reign of the American box office. The Star Trek film made $39.6 million in the first 5 days of release, exceeding the Search for Spock's opening by $14 million. Ultimately, the film grossed a global total of $133 million against its $21 million cost, which is $1 million under budget. Despite grossing $6 million less than Star Trek the motion picture, The Voyage Home was the most profitable of the series, grossing $133 million against a $21 million budget. Yeah.
Is The Voyage Home the one with the whales?
I think so. I could be dead wrong, but give me a sec, because I know the Voyage Home was supposed to. Yeah, it was the one. Yeah, it says Spock determines that the probe signal matches the song of extinct humpback whales, and that
Yeah,
the
and they
object-
travel back in time, and Scotty can't work out how to use a computer.
Can I just point out it only made $133 million against a $21 million budget.
Yeah.
Star Wars kicked their butt.
Keep in mind the Hollywood accounting.
Yeah, well, I know it's a thin margin, but I was just thinking, like, was it Star Wars: A New Hope, which was the original Star Wars movie, had a budget that was only in the thousands of dollars and made almost $800 million back in the 70s. So yeah, one up for Star Wars over the Trekkies.
Anything else before we call it a night?
Well, we haven't picked on the Chinese hackers. I mean,
All the penguin lords, we haven't contacted them.
Well, you don't contact them; they contact you.
You can't seek out the penguins; they must come to you.
Anyways, so nothing else, guys?
Well, how can they contact us, DJ?
We have a Facebook page. They can find us on Twitter. We have and they can also find us on our email. They can also find us on that'snotcanon.com. We have an archive of our old episodes, and we have some merchandise. All the stuff that we've been talking about will be on our show notes.
And how else can they contact us? If only we had like a Facebook group or something.
We have our Facebook page, our Facebook group.
Well, tell them about it, DJ.
Tell us more.
All I can say is that you contact us if you want to be a part of the Nerds Amalgamated Facebook group, where we can have conversations, debates, share cool artworks.
You can tell the DJ how he's wrong.
Yeah, give us a break from telling him. You can play games like we had with what was his name the other day? With the anime one?
That was on our Facebook page, but not on our Facebook group. Give me a second.
Oh, it was still fun.
Yeah, that was fun. So many guesses.
And I got more of them right.
Yeah, that's true.
And you think you know anime, TJ. I thought you were supposed to be our resident weeb.
Hey, I'm just old.
That's his excuse. I'm going. Nothing can beat that.
With age comes experience and knowledge.
Yeah, John. That was his name.
I figured he deserves a bit of a shout out for that. That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, that was fun. Thanks, John. All right. Anyways, that's it for another episode of Nerds Amalgamated. See you guys.
See you next week.
Remember to take care of each other. Look for yourselves and stay hydrated. Hooroo.